Hello, babies.
Of course, we're starting Patriots Browns, the shellacking 45-7 shellacking the Patriots put on the Browns.
Statement.
I mean,
you wanted one.
Best game win we've seen out of this team since the beginning of 2019. Tom Brady, before that started to go downhill, and I can't even name you the game.
I would probably honestly, Chiefs playoff game, AFC Championship game was probably the most. I mean, that's not much of a dominant win, but it's finally like what you saw yesterday, really.
Well, it's terms of like making a stance, determining who you are as a team, and this team has kind of been in flux for going on 2 years, or if 2 years going on 3 years until this. Yeah, I think it's up there. I honestly think it's up there. It's been, I want to get into all of it, certainly. But just the overlooking kind of view of what this game was, the Browns were a team coming off their best win of the season against your Bengals, Raymond. They shut them down. Their defense, Cleveland's defense, showed up in a big way. Obviously, the Browns are missing Chubb and Kareem Hunt this game, but Dearness Johnston played well early in the season, and his first drive looked fucking great for him in this game, and the stupid Browns went away from him. So I don't give you the excuse of Nick Chubb. And also, the Browns got fucking smoked. It was a clinic all around by the Patriots. 452 total yards to 217. They were 7 for 9 on third downs. I thought that was most of the game. The Browns, on the other hand, I think were 1 for 11 or 12. They were terrible on third down.
Patriots average to gain on third down was over 6 yards.
Yeah,
they were money on third down.
Third and ones, third and threes. They were picking them up legitimately. 34 minutes to 26 minutes time of possession, and 30-17 on total first down. So just domination all around. It was a statement win, like you said, Bill. I know my opening take is still out there in the ether and why I think Mac Jones is the only thing standing in the way of this team in the playoffs. But we are going to start with him in this game and his game. 19 of 23, 198 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's a career record for him. A 98 QBR, if you pay any attention to that, out of 100, which is, either way you want to slice it, pretty fucking good. Things that stood out for me, the third down, certainly, but he had 4, maybe 5 unreal passes, touch passes, bullets.
Two on that 99-yard drive. The one to, not to cut you off, but the one to Jacoby Myers I thought was his best throw over the shoulder on 3rd and 9, by the way, for 26 yards. And then 2 plays later, that Bourne, I thought Bourne made a better catch for how good a throw that was. That was a better catch on Bourne's. I mean, and then the Hunter Henry went up the sideline, which if I'm them, why aren't you challenging that? I thought that ball hit the ground. If I'm Stefanski, whatever his stupid name is, Stefanski, I'm throwing a challenge. I'm throwing that flag there. But again, 3 perfect balls. I mean, he had 4 incompletions, and 1 was a throwaway and 1 was a drop. So I mean, he was money all game.
And 1 was a tip.
Yeah, and what was his? He had 141. QB rating this game. So it was, I think he's one of 4 rookies. He was dealing,
especially early, that little stretch where Cleveland goes down, runs right through the Patriots defense, and then for some reason decides to throw at the 2-yard line a couple times, almost blows it, but they get the touchdown on 4th down. Corey should have had that pick on 3rd down, by the way. Had his palm right on it. Would have been nice to see him come down with it. But they come down and score. Patriots come back, 83-yard drive to come down and score. They get the ball right back. Was that the interception, or was it the next possession?
Duggar. It was Duggar had an interception right away and punched it in with Stevenson.
And then they punched in with Stevenson at that point, 14-7. And then they get the 99-yard drive, and it was over. And then it was fucking over after that. And then they just attack it on. They had another 92-yard drive in 8 plays, 95-yard drive in 6 plays. So this was as legit of an offensive performance as you could find. And I don't know if you mentioned the other throw I had marked down here was the Henry touchdown, the first touchdown to Hunter Henry.
Was disgusting. Yeah, with that loft play. Like, I mean, the fade, that's a pretty hard throw right at the sideline, and he put it right in the money. I mean, Jones was unbelievable. The defense, real quick on that, Cleveland's opening drive. You've seen the Patriots struggle with the scripted plays. You've seen the first drives on a lot of teams give get a lot of big yards on the Patriots, including touchdowns. Carolina, I believe, had a touchdown in there. Friggin' scripted plays like that. You've seen it going back to the preseason. We've said it all season long. The scripted plays. You don't have that chance to run it in the second half when you're already down 3 scores. He's got the field. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you can't really script for that at that point.
And Myles Garrett gave the world some decent sound bites after this game about his coaching staff. So, and we can certainly get there, but just to stick to Mac Jones, I'll go to you right here. Sorry, I lost my train of thought, right? Your take, or what your thought of Mac Jones in this game. Was it a coming out party for him? Obviously, a lot of talk the last 2 games were not as good. Plateau has been the word of choice around Boston. My thought process in that, it was always, he's a rookie quarterback. I don't know. I don't think he's plateau. He just had a couple games. We speculated maybe he's hurt. He's taken a lot of hits. It's a lot of football coming from college. He hasn't played that. So just to have a game like this, your thoughts, Raymond?
I think it's the chemistry. If you look at it, he's getting a very good chemistry with Hunter Henry now, who's his neighbor, I believe. And you've seen pictures that he was at his baby shower, blah, blah, blah. But the chemistry
7 touchdowns.
Yes, the chemistry is there between him and Hunter Henry. I think Kendrick Bourne also has some good chemistry with Mac Jones right now. So that's what I like seeing, is the chemistry that they're building and how they keep developing each week. It's not a coming out party for Mac Jones. It was just, he didn't even have 200 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. That's great. But the chemistry he had and the completion percentage is what I like to see that keeps going up each week.
Well, and you ran the ball so good. You had 181 yards rushing on Cleveland, number 3 ranked defense in the league. You basically, made Myles Garrett invisible. He had 1 sack, but I think it was more on Mac than him. It looked like a 2-3 step drop. But other than that, they chipped him with N'Keal Harry all game. N'Keal Harry played 39 snaps, I believe, or 35 snaps was the most he's played all season. You didn't hear him much, but he was chipping Garrett all game long, and it gave him time. But again, it all starts with a running game. That's why you get your Mac Jones threw for 200 yards. They ran the fucking ball down their throat, and including end arounds to Kendrick Bourne. I think he had 3 carries for almost 50 yards. They stretched the field on him all game to neutralize Garrett. They let Garrett run past him, and he could not stop the run. That was what won you the game. You said again, and then through your third down, Mac Jones was great. The whole offense in general. You put up 45 points, including Hoyer to Jacoby Myers late for that garbage touchdown. Love seeing them fucking kind of go there, try to get him his first touchdown. But still, it's good. It's good.
It's like we've all said too in this text exchange. There's no you couldn't pick out a bad player on either side of the ball in this game.
No, probably not. We could try.
It'd be a stretch.
I think Isaiah Wynn started shaky. He had the hands to the face that negated a first down, and he gave up a sack. Other than that, he did a pretty fucking damn good job on Myles Garrett. You didn't hear Myles Garrett for much of this, if at all, in the second half. Oh, yeah. So the offensive line as a whole, getting Trent Brown back was huge. He's monster.
Such a big dude.
He is a monster in this game, and it stabilizes that line.
I visually because I was watching the game and watching my daughter, so I was a little bit distracted at the beginning of the game, and then I thought, oh, Trent Brown's supposed to be in. Let me see if I can see him. Immediately when my eyes went to the office, I'm like, oh, fuck, yeah, he's in.
Dude, 6'8", 380.
He was in pretty much the whole game. He played pretty much the whole game, and the offensive line was terrific. To your point, the running game was great. Stevenson, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looked really good. Mac Jones, the entire game, had 3 pressures, 1 sack against the number 1 pass rushing defense in the league. And yes, they ran the ball well, Bill, but it's not like they went back there and ran it 50 times. Mac had 23 attempts. 24 with the sack, and however many times he dropped back was probably more like 26, 27. So, they were certainly throwing the ball around, and this offensive line stood up. My question to you is that, I know it's not purely a Trent Brown thing, but last week they didn't look as good against the Panthers. Certainly not. And they haven't looked as good all season as they did that game. Trent Brown has to be a big reason why. And just to tack on, your boy Onwenu was the guy, the odd man out, but he played. He was more of a swing tackle. He came in a lot on extra tackle help, more as almost a third tight end, really, a lot of times. And they left Karras there at guard. So a little bit on the offensive line there and Trent Brown's contribution, Bill.
I think it's huge. Again, I think he's, 2018, he was basically a Pro Bowl left tackle for the world champion Patriots, and now you shift him over to right tackle. He has the ability to play both, but you see what it is. It stabilizes that right edge. You know what I mean? And you saw they were running, they were running at Garrett's side, but they were still stretching the field all game. And he's a good pass blocker. You have Javady and Clowney running from the opposite side of exactly. You didn't hear him fucking once. Again, you neutralized two pretty Pro Bowl, all pro pass rushers in Cleveland's defensive end and Clowney and Myles Garrett. So, I mean, yeah, that's what Ted Karras has played pretty well at left guard. I was kind of surprised. I thought Owenu could shift back over to left guard, but I did like him in that extra. I got it right.
Good job, buddy.
I got it right.
I didn't want to
I looked him up. I looked them up
For any
on Friday.
consistent listeners, Quincy Aninwa is the guy that Bill has been referencing all fucking season when he's talking about Aninwa, Owenu, who was a wide receiver for the Jets, who wasn't that bad for a couple of years. But anyway,
yeah, he had a couple of years, broke his neck. But no, I mean, I like Owenu. I like Owenu in that swing tackle role. Yeah, you saw him as that extra tight end especially with John O. Smith. With John O. Smith out. We'll see what happens when Smith comes back, because maybe, you're going to use Smith there, so maybe might move Owenu back into the left guard role, but it's hard to break up. And the way Trent Brown, started, he played 75-80% of the snaps. I think they pulled him out late in the game after they were up in the 40s, but I mean, it's a good bounce back. You just got to try to keep him healthy. So if you rotate both of them in, I'd be happy with that. Keep Karras at left guard.
Yeah, the stuff I was listening to, I think it was Bernard on the after show said that he was in there. Trent Brown was in there for like 76-80% of the snaps, so it wasn't like he came in and was rested. My conspiracy theory, get a life loser, was Bill Belichick kept Winu available just in case Trent Brown was not, instead of switching things up mid-game and having Karras come in cold and so on and so forth, just have Winu available to jump in that tackle spot if him or fucking Isaiah Wynn wasn't able to keep going because, his injury history and his lack of, kind of consistency this year. So, yeah, I'm with you. Winu was as a swing tackle if need be. I'd still look, they look good yesterday. Isaiah Wynn still gives me question marks, Ray. The idea of a fully healthy, engaged Trent Brown at left tackle, and then an Isaiah Wynn and or Wynn on the right tackle, however you want to place that. That does make me feel a little bit better for Mac Jones, honestly. But I don't know, if they keep playing well, you got to stick with it, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if Trent Brown is the difference maker here, I mean, 1 sack, I think, yesterday. That was it for Cleveland.
3 pressures. That's huge. They lead the league in pressures.
And then the last week we saw Mac Jones almost die in the Carolina game. So, I mean, it's a nice, I don't know. If Trent Brown is that difference maker, sign this guy long-term because, you need this kind of pressure. You don't want your franchise quarterback getting killed back there week in and week out. And it's nice to see that he had a clean jersey after the end of the game this week.
Yeah, and if that's the case, if Trent Brown is the difference maker or not, if this is just what the offensive line can look like for the most part moving forward, look at the type of quarterback Mac Jones can be. Look at the throws he can make. Look at the touch he can have, the accuracy that he can have. Certainly, the commentary around Mac Jones in the last couple of weeks where he hasn't been as sharp was he got sped up. He's been getting hit a lot. His line hasn't given him enough time. Well, a lot of that can be said about the great, the GOAT, the Judas, Tom Brady as well. A lot of that can be said about literally any quarterback in the NFL.
Let's make this quick.
What's that?
Nothing. Go ahead. Did you hear his press conference?
Oh, Brady? Yeah.
He's a whiny little cunt.
Let's make this quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, tides are turning a little bit. I'm not doubting Brady in the Bucks. Listen to Wednesday's show. We can get into that a little bit more. But about the same time last year, people were saying the same thing, and Brady took over the offense and they won the Super Bowl. So,